It is by occasion that annually we gather together, and in some way or another we attempt to let our pastors know that we appreciate them. But the fact is, we should do this on a continual day-to-day basis. I'm going to share with you a little excerpt from a sermon I preached recently regarding that. And we need to understand that a pastor's job is a full-time job. He is on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 366 in leap year. Y'all give him no time off. And if any one person or family in the church needs to be supported, it's the pastor, simply because it's not easy being a pastor. From the beginning, Jesus said that if you want to be a leader, you must be prepared to, first of all, do the most work. You must be prepared to make your needs and desires secondary to those of the church. And from the moment that you accept the position as a pastor, your life is no longer your own. It belongs to the church and its work. It's not easy being a pastor. Webster's dictionary describes a pastor as a person who is appointed as a priest or minister in spiritual and jurisdictional charge of a parish, a church, congregation, or community. I could go on with that, but I got to add my 2 cents. My definition of a pastor is, he's a man who's thrown in the water with his hands handcuffed behind his back. Then he's told to swim against the current while towing a raggedy raft full of folks to safety with the rope tied to his neck. He must have the heart of a lion, the skin of a hippopotamus, the agility of a greyhound, the patience of a donkey. He must have the wisdom of an elephant, the industrial fortitude of an ant, the cunning of a serpent, and as many lives as a cat, because y'all are killing it. It's not easy being a pastor. He must preach so that the congregation leaves saying, not what a lovely sermon he preached, but what must I do to go out and please Christ? He must be patient enough to put up with all the idiosyncrasies of all the folks he pastors, because everybody's got a different attitude. He must articulate enough to speak so that each and every member of the congregation hears the sermon as though he's talking just to them, but he's relating to everybody. He must be servant enough to cater to the members of the flock without compromising his relationship with God. He must be tender-hearted enough to understand the wrongs that people do without condoning the wrong, but loving the sinner while hating the sin. Yeah. He must be open-minded enough to reserve judgment of a matter until he has heard all the facts, because everybody comes to him telling their side of the story as if he ought to side with them and not with the other party. He must be reasonable enough that he can be approached with the most mundane of circumstances to make you feel like you're important. He must be an administrator. He must be a shepherd. He must be a priest. He must be a moral and religious leader. He must be a prophet of the Lord, because his job is even harder than the chief musician. Because even though the musician can make you happy, even though the musician can make you move your feet, the pastor's job is more difficult because he's not an actor on the stage. He can't just put on a show. He got to live the life, because y'all be the first one to talk about him if he don't. He got to walk the walk, and he's got to be as exacting as a surgeon, because, you know, the knife in the hand of a surgeon can heal, but in the hand of the wrong person it can kill. And when you think about it all, you ask yourself, is it worth it? It's worth it. It's worth it for the folks who come in and say they've been healed because of your ministry. It's worth it because of the folks whose lives have been changed. It's worth it because you see other folks doing things that they wouldn't have done had they not heard the word of God from you. It's worth it because if only one makes it into the kingdom because of the word that you preach, it's worth being a pastor. But most of all, y'all remember this, it ain't easy being a pastor. God loves you and I love you. And the things we do.